Okay, so this for me feels quite weird and a little bit unnatural to just be talking at the camera, but I've had a couple of people in the past tell me that they really think I should start video blogging, and one friend really recently, while I was home over the weekend, here's a little dedication, has decided that some of the things that I think and some of the views I have on the world are quite interesting and that I should share them, which again feels really strange to me that somebody should think that. So I'm going to give this a little shot, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So she's been trying to get me to do this for a while, and I told her if you can come up with a topic or you can come up with a situation, I am quite happy to talk about it, give it a try, see what happens with it. And she said that she thought the best way for me to kick off was just to talk about my theory on whether everything happens for a reason and whether that is true or not. And my view on this has changed a lot over time, and I think the easiest way to start in the everything happens for a reason category is with a little story of my own, and that is that well, God, 18 months ago now. That seems crazy, but we went skiing as a family, and we go every year, and we ski up in Denver. So base camp is a mile and a half above sea level, so it's really high altitude. And then once you climb even higher and you get to Breckenridge where we stay, you're looking at sort of nearly 2 miles above sea level, and the air is really thin, and you really notice your fitness levels go down quite a lot. You struggle to climb the stairs, and that's all standard. That's just normal. That's the altitude. So you kind of get used to that. So every year we have a few days where we struggle, and we find it quite hard, and then eventually it becomes easier again, and you start, coping. Anyway, my little sister didn't get over that situation where she was coping, and she was really struggling to snowboard, and couldn't really make a whole day out on the slopes. Was really finding it really, really hard. So eventually got to the point where we thought, well, we're really going to have to take you to the doctors and figure this out, because there'd been a couple of incidents around Christmas where at one point she'd slipped by the pool, and another point she'd been in a car accident. So maybe she smashed a rib, a collarbone, and that's why the breathing is being so hard to get. And we took her down there, and she had an X-ray, and the doctors sent us back to Denver to the main hospital and said, you need to go down there. This is urgent. There's a shadow in the X-ray. And anyway, cut a long story short, it turned out to be Hodgkin's lymphoma, a really advanced stage of cancer. And yeah, that was tough. We caught it. We worked with it. We got through it. She ran the Race for Life on her 19th birthday, raised over £11,000 for charity, and is now in remission. And we were so lucky. Like, I can't emphasize just how lucky we were. And if we hadn't been in Denver, we wouldn't have found it so soon. It would have been later. Maybe there would have been less chance to treat it. We don't know. It's all theory. But if we hadn't been there, we wouldn't have caught it. And equally, if my sister hadn't had cancer, we wouldn't be the people we are today. Like, our family were kind of falling apart, and we weren't close anymore. There were arguments, there were problems, big problems. And if we hadn't had what my sister went through, in a weird way, we'd be worse off. That sounds ridiculous, but it kind of is true. And I think my sister would be one of the first people to admit that her illness brought us closer together. So yeah, the family was falling apart. There was these huge arguments. My mum really wasn't coping with the fact that I was gay. I'd come out fairly recently to her and to my friends, and she really wasn't dealing with that at all. Now I can safely say, she is coping with that. She still has to say, how's your friend rather than your girlfriend, and she has to just deal with it in her own little way, but she is now coping, whereas before, I literally thought at some point in the next 10 minutes, my bags are going to be on the doorstep, and I'm going to be out the will, that's it. I was constantly on these fucking eggshells waiting for her to kick me out, and, it was the same stuff. My little brother was feeling under a lot of pressure with his exams, and my mum and my stepdad were arguing, and things had been really tough, and, things were shit. Things were really bad. And now I'd say our family is so much closer because of the fact that we were so scared together about Laura. We were so panicky. We were so worried about her. And for that reason, I feel like there was a purpose for that illness, for that struggle that she had in a way. And and that might sound really selfish, but I know that she would agree with me on that. I know that she feels that too, that we were a family that were just not a family anymore. We were just separate people, sort of drifting around this sort of stupid idea of a family, what a family should be, but we were just individuals struggling to cope and struggling to communicate with one another. It was like we were completely alien to one another, and we were caught in these forced situations where we had to sit down and talk and try and be friends, and it was just so awkward. And now, you know, every Christmas we're grateful for, every birthday we're like, thank God, you know, we've got our health, that's all we need. We don't need anything else. That's it. We just need to laugh together, and that's it. That is it. And we never had that. We never ever had that until my sister got ill. And for that reason, something bad happened to benefit all of us and to change things. So, you know, in that sense, it did happen for a reason. There was a reason for that. So for me, that's the epitome of everything happens for a reason. But I have got so much to show me that things don't always happen for a reason as well. Like recently, a friend of mine was traveling in India, and it's all over the news. You've probably seen it, but she was very sadly taken from us in Kashmir. There's no way that happens for a reason. There is no reason why someone who was that bright and sparkling and beautiful had a reason to be taken from us like that. You know, I personally think there's no way that could ever happen for a reason. There's no reason for that to happen. So the truth is, really, things happen. The truth is, we don't know why things happen. But what is true is that we cannot sit here waiting for things to happen, to rely on the fact that everything happens for a reason, to think, well, you know, this year I've not got what I wanted, that happens for a reason, next year's my big chance. But have you actually tried? Have you gone out there and given it a shot? Have you tried to get what it is that you want? Because if you haven't, you're not just going to get it. It's not just going to fall in your lap. And I'm sick and tired of people saying that things are just going to happen and using everything happens as a reason as an excuse, because it's a poor excuse. It is a piss poor excuse for anything. You know, if you want something, you have to go and get it. And that is one of the most vitally important things that I have learned over the last few years. Absolutely nothing is going to just get given to you. And if it does get given to you, you're a lucky fucker, and it's pretty fucking rare. Like, you just don't get handed things on a plate anymore. You know, if there is something you want, if you're sat here going, oh, you know, I want to be the next big movie star and I've not had my break this year, but maybe I'll have it next year. Yeah, but have you been in every performance that you possibly could be? Have you been promoting yourself? Have you been, you know, trying to get internships somewhere, doing drama courses, things that maybe even might look beneath you, but you might learn something from them? You just don't know. You've got to go and do absolutely everything you can. Like, I would love to be on the international circuit riding, like, without a shadow of a doubt, you know? That is the biggest dream in the world, and I've not had any funding. I have not had support from my family particularly, because they're not really that horsey. I've not had any big breaks, but I've ridden every single horse I've ever been offered, and I've gotten on them and I've tried, and, you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Maybe one day it will, maybe it never will, maybe I'll always be at this level, but at least I can go out knowing that I've tried. You know, you can't rely on that everything happens for a reason clause, because it's just a lame excuse, I think. You know, some people do get what they deserve while other people don't, and to a certain extent it is true that good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people, but actually sometimes those good people are just sat on their arse not doing much, and that's why then the bad things are happening to them, because they're not making an effort. You know, you can be a good person, but you're not necessarily trying that hard, so pull your finger out your arse and give it a shot. You know, it's worth having a try. So if you're a good person and you're sat there fucking moping about how, you know, bad things are constantly happening to you, they're not. You just aren't going out there and getting what you deserve. You're a good person, you do good things for other people, you're a nice person to be around, you're funny, you know, maybe you're really hot. Good on you if you're really, really hot. Go out there and make life happen. You know, there are people out there who I have been green with envy over, who have gone and given themselves, you know, successful radio careers, successful music careers, successful sport careers, but they've worked damn hard to be there, and they've gone and done it. They've not had it handed to them. So if you want that, go out and fucking do it, okay? Even if you never necessarily get to that very point that you want to be at, you'll be higher than you are now, you'll have worked hard for it, and you'll know that you did everything. And at some point on that ladder up there, you will find a place that you are comfortable at being, that you are happy at being, that makes you happy. It's inevitable, because if you're not happy where you are right now, eventually you will be. Even if you never reach the exact point that you wanted to be at, you will find happiness somewhere on the journey trying to get there. It's inevitable. It will happen for you. But I think the one thing that's more true than anything is that one good turn does deserve another. Okay, there is absolutely no harm that can possibly be done by doing something good for somebody else, and sometimes it comes back around and sorts you out too. Sometimes nonsensical, ridiculous things just happen, and there's no way you can possibly say there's a reason for those things. At the end of the day, there's this crazy, ridiculous world around us where stuff just happens, and people are trying so badly to blame karma or a reason or God for these things, and there's nobody else to blame but ourselves at the end of the day. There isn't. You can't possibly go around blaming anybody but yourself for your actions. We create the world that we live in. We create our own individual worlds, and shit happens to us, shit gets thrown at us, but it's how we deal with that shit that makes it good or bad, and not the actual shit itself. Do you know what I mean? If somebody fucking throws some abuse at you for the way that you dress, the way that you look, if you just deal with that and get on with it and just ignore it, nothing's changing for you at all. At all. If somebody fucking sees me in the street with my girlfriend and shouts dyke, the only reason that I have to bring me down is if I turn around and engage with that. I don't have to. I don't have to engage with that stuff. I just walk away. And I can just ignore it. And the next minute, if you're not engaging with that person who said that or talking about that person who's done that, then within 30 seconds you can pretend it's never happened. It doesn't have to happen. It's not part of your reality. That's part of their reality. And as long as you feel that you can walk away from it, then that's it. It's not happened. It's not even part of your world. It doesn't have to be at all. So, do things happen for a reason? The answer is no, definitively. Things don't happen for a reason. Sometimes things happen that mean other things are revealed, or other things become easier, and it's a spin-off, it's a domino effect, a snowball effect, if you like, where something will happen and good things or bad things will come of it. That's it. There is no reason for that thing to happen, but sometimes a chain of events makes it look like there is. What is true is that we are completely and utterly responsible for the way that we react to those things and the things that happen in our lives and achieving our dreams. You create the reality that you live in, okay? So whatever happens to you, the way that you react to that thing is the way it's going to be. Nobody can change it. How strong you are, how brave you are, the way that you take that criticism or you take those bad things, that is your reality. Nobody's going to hand you your dreams. There are people who will help you. There are ways that you can kind of quick fire your way to the top if you're really lucky and often have a lot of money. That will help you. But for the most part, you're responsible for your dreams as well. And also, you're responsible for your own happiness. There are things that we can do. There are good people out there who will help other people's happiness on their way. So if you can honestly go out there with your head held high and create happiness that other people can live off, you're an amazing person. And you are doing the world a massive, massive favour. And one day, that might come right back and help you out. Equally, if you go around creating shit for everybody, one day that might come around and bite you in the arse. But it might not. You might be a shit person your whole life and get away with it. Hate you, if that's the case. You might be a good person your whole life and never be rewarded for it. I feel really sorry for you. But these things happen. What you have to do is be responsible for yourself, your reality, your dreams, your emotions, and if you're a good enough person, help others on their way, knowing that you might never get anything back for it. That is the full truth of the matter. There is nothing else to it. Strange things happen. Sometimes they help us, sometimes they don't. But there's generally absolutely no reason for those things. Unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. Well, it's my opinion on the way the world works. Everybody has a different opinion. But it is possible to make anything bad turn into something good if you have the right mentality and the right attitude towards that thing. So go out there, chase the dreams that you have, look after the people that you love, and that is the best that you can possibly do in this ridiculously crazy world that we live in. So if this works and people are interested, if you've got a question, preferably one that's either really funny or really deep, that I can kind of explore and rant to you about, then post it below, inbox me, whatever you fancy, and I'll give it a bash. We'll see what happens.